The train screamed like a wounded thing as it cut through the dusty plains of Wyoming, carrying what was left of Martha Hensley's hope. Her fingers trembled around a wrinkled letter, the one that had promised her a home, a husband, and maybe a new beginning. But when she stepped down at the Laramie station, holding her carpetbag tight, the man waiting there looked at her once, frowned, and spat on the ground. "You're older than the picture," he said flatly. "This won't do." He turned and left her standing in the wind. The platform emptied, the last train whistle blew, and the only sound left was the cry of a hawk circling above her head, like even the sky pitied her. Martha had nowhere to go. The postmaster had warned her, "It's hard country, ma'am. Nobody waits for second chances here." But she wasn't about to die in that dust. Not yet, so she started walking, boots dragging, the sun beating down on her bonnet. Each mile was a story of rejection, of hunger, of dreams that had dried out like the prairie grass around her. By dusk, her shoes were torn and her lips cracked. She followed the glow of a distant lantern, praying it led to shelter and not another disappointment. It led her to a ranch, wide fences, horses restless in their corrals, and the smell of firewood drifting on the air. She hesitated at the gate, then knocked on the door. The man who opened it looked like the kind of person silence had made his companion. Broad shoulders, stubble rough as grit, eyes too blue to be gentle. He didn't say a word at first, just looked at her, taking in her torn dress, dusty shoes, and the heartbreak written all over her face. "I'm sorry to bother," Martha began, voice shaking. I was sent for, as a mail-order bride. But he sent me back. Said I was too old. I just need somewhere to rest until morning." He leaned against the frame, arms folded. "You walked here from town?" "Yes, sir. That's 10 miles. I didn't count," she said softly. He stared at her a moment longer, then stepped aside. "Come in." Inside, the house smelled of coffee and loneliness. He poured her a cup, hands rough but careful. "Name's Eli Turner," he said. "This ranch used to be loud once, wife, son, cattle hands. Now it's just me and the wind." Martha wrapped her hands around the mug. "I'm Martha. I used to teach in St. Louis. Thought maybe," she stopped, biting the rest of the words. Eli studied her, his eyes unreadable. "You thought maybe someone out here would want you." She flinched. "Yes." He nodded, slow. "Men around here want youth, soft hands, girls that giggle at everything. Not a woman who's lived." "Seems so," she whispered. The fire cracked between them. The wind howled outside, carrying the sound of coyotes. Eli stood, pacing once, then looked at her again. Not as a stranger this time, but as someone who had been broken the same way he had. "My wife died 5 winters back," he said. "Fever took her. My boy didn't last the month. After that, I just stopped talking to folks. Stopped needing them. But seeing you standing there," his voice roughened, "reminded me that life doesn't end until we stop letting it." Martha's throat tightened. "You don't owe me kindness." He shook his head. "Maybe not, but maybe I owe myself something human." She tried to smile, but her eyes filled with tears instead. When morning came, she packed her bag again. "Thank you for the night," she said softly. "I'll move along before the sun climbs high." Eli watched her tighten the strap on her carpetbag. "Move along where?" She hesitated. "Anywhere that'll take me." He stepped forward, voice low but steady. "Then just be mine." Martha froze. "What? You said he sent you back. Said you were too old. But I say you look like someone who's seen enough to stay. I don't need young, I need real." Her lips trembled. "You don't even know me." "I know enough," he said. "You knocked on my door when you could have given up. That's more than most folks do." She looked into his eyes, and for the first time in years, saw a spark of something that wasn't fitty. It was hope. Eli reached out a hand, hesitant, waiting. "Stay," he said. "Help me fix what's left of this ranch. Maybe we can both start again." The wind swept across the porch, carrying dust and the faint smell of rain. Martha stared at his hand, the calloused palm, the tremor in his fingers, not from fear, but from wanting to believe again. Slowly, she took it. He smiled, the kind of smile that hurt because it had been buried too long. That day, the lonely rancher worked beside her, fixing fences, tending horses, cooking supper in silence that didn't feel empty anymore. Weeks passed, and the land began to change with them. Flowers grew where weeds had ruled. The house felt warmer. The porch light stayed on later. One evening, when the sky bled gold over the plains, Eli came up behind her as she hung laundry. "Funny thing," he murmured. "You were supposed to be sent back." She laughed softly. "I was, but I think," he said, touching her shoulder, "you were sent to the right place after all." She looked at him, really looked, and her heart, quiet for too long, finally stirred. Out there, in a world that forgot what kindness looked like, two broken souls had found the courage to be each other's home. And from that day on, the neighbors whispered about the ranch where the wind never held quite as lonely again.